morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Taboo Radio. So today, we're going to be having a little bit of a look at another one of those cards from Night Unison. We are working our way through the cards in Night Unison. I do like to look at every card because it just seems rude if I don't. So today, let's carry on our gander by having a bit of a gander at Raticate. Raticate is a stage 1 Pokemon, and it's kind of annoying in a bunch of ways. It's got 70 HP, which is firstly incredibly low, which sucks. But secondly, you can't use Professor Round's lecture, which is really kind of annoying. But because we want to use Professor Round's lecture, I would much rather it just had 60 HP, and that's not exactly some weird thing. We've had 60 HP Raticates before, and I mean, I want some evolutions for argument's sake. That would really help. So I don't like the 70 HP here. I don't like the weakness to fighting, given that Buzzwole is everywhere right now. And I mean, I will say that the retreat cost of 1 is fairly low. Maybe that's a good thing. And then it's a colorless Pokemon, and colorless Pokemon means you don't get any extra tricks. Ladies and gentlemen, at the outset here, things are not looking terribly good. The good news is things get an awful lot better because it's got a rather nice attack, and I should mention our translation here comes from the lovely David Hochmann over at limitlesstcg.com/translations. And what it does for just a double colorless energy, and yes, if anyone's keeping score, that is just a single energy attachment, it allows you to do 70 damage. 70 damage for a double colorless, not terrible. But if your opponent's active Pokemon is an evolution Pokemon, you get to switch this with one of your benched Pokemon. It's a hit and run Pokemon, except it's actually really quite a good hit and run Pokemon. So the theory here is rather simple. It's the same as it's been for all of these hit and run Pokemon. You don't worry about how low the HP is, you don't worry about the weakness. You do 70 damage, you flick to the bench, and you throw up a wall Pokemon. Something that your opponent is going to struggle to deal with, and then you just roll from there. I've said before, and I'll happily say again, if you move into the expanded format, we've got better wall Pokemon. The two that we're really missing in standard at the moment are Wobbuffet and Trevenant. When Wobbuffet is in the active, your opponent doesn't get to use any abilities. In fact, when Wobbuffet's in the active, nobody gets to use any abilities other than psychic abilities. That's you and your opponent. And when Trevenant's in the active, your opponent doesn't get to use any item cards. So it's really nice to be able to do a bit of damage and then flick back to the bench and you're golden. So the questions really become, what other hit and run Pokemon do we have that we can combine with this? And what do we have in terms of wall Pokemon to be using? Now, we've got kind of a couple. I mean, one that springs to mind a little bit, although the HP is a little bit low for my liking. I do like the Articuno, which we're going to be getting in Tag Team. Now, the 110 HP is a bit of an issue, although this has been seeing quite a lot of play in Japan. But the ability on this Articuno, very simply, stops your opponent using supporter cards on your water Pokemon on the bench. Now, annoyingly, it's only water Pokemon, but it means that your opponent cannot Guzma around. Now, maybe not the best wall Pokemon for Raticate, but this might be a nice time to mention that we have Taboo Phinney Gx that very much is in and of itself a wall Pokemon. 1 colorless energy, 20 damage, and if you like, you can switch this to the bench with one of your Pokemon. Quite nice. So now you've got a water-type Pokemon. And this is one of the things that kind of gets me down about Raticate a little bit. If we talk about something like Taboo Phinney, we can whack a choice band on there. We're hitting for 50. With weakness, that goes up to 100. So something like a Blacephalon, for argument's sake, will be fairly easily 2-hit KO'd by this. Similarly, we've got the new Deoxys. I say new Deoxys. It came around in Celestial Storm. It's really not that new. But it is the speed form, and for 1 psychic energy, 20 damage and you can switch it to the bench. So again, you add a choice band, you're up to 50 damage, that's good. And if you're hitting for weakness against something like a Buzzwole GX, you're hitting 100, so you're getting a comfortable 2-hit KO on a Buzzwole. So ones like Taboo Phinney and Deoxys work really nicely indeed. And if we're going to be using double colorless energy, might I remind you about Taboo Cocoa? This one came around in Lost Thunder very recently, and it actually does 30 damage and switches to the bench. And that's really good because it's more than 20. And then choice band weakness 120, life is good. Although you're not really hitting too much for weakness as a lightning type, but maybe in the future. You never know. I mean, look, Magikarp and Wailord Tag Team GX is coming. Oh no, wait, that's weak to grass. Yeah, there really is not much good lightning weak stuff at the moment, but you never know what we're going to get in the future. Now, all of these are basic Pokemon, giving them a giant advantage over Raticate, but also they're non-GXs. So in comes Shrine of Punishment. So you're chipping away, you're hitting multiple different weaknesses, you've got Shrine of Punishment. This works rather nicely indeed. The question is, does Raticate fit into this? I should also mention while we're here the Hitmonchan, which we looked at a little while ago. I'll pop a link to that one in the description. And Hitmonchan's a really nice one. Firstly, you've got a fighting type here. So you're hitting weakness on, well, Zoroark, which is pretty gosh darn good. And 1 energy, 30 damage, but again, choice band, and that's 30 like Taboo Cocoa. So again, choice band weakness, that's 120, comfortable 2-hit KO on Zoroark, as well as Pikachu and Zekrom Tag Team GX, with the added bonus here that you've also got the Hitmonlee, that if you used Hitmonchan the previous turn, does 90 to the bench for 1 energy, so you can get stuff like a Macargo or a Malamar, or some kind of pre-evolution, so that sitting on the bench you can get an easy KO. So in theory here, we've got the makings of a fairly good hit and run deck. We've got a variety of different Pokemon, and we're good to go. So does Raticate fit into this? And I don't know. I mean, Raticate has a big disadvantage over all the others because Taboo Phinney basic, Taboo Cocoa basic, Hitmonchan basic, Deoxys basic, Raticate stage 1. But Raticate does more damage than the others. Raticate gets comfortable 2-hit KOs on non-GXs like Granbull and White Kyurem that the others just don't, to be perfectly honest. If you're not hitting for weakness, these other ones, 20, 30 damage against a non-GX that isn't weak takes a very, very long time to do anything. And that's the niche that Raticate is occupying here. Raticate comes in and says, look, alright, I know that I'm only hitting 70, and I know I'm a stage 1, but you guys are good against GXs and you're good if you're hitting for weakness, but if you're not hitting for weakness, hey, I'm here, and it pretty much 2-hit KOs anything. Non-GXs, most of them have 140 or less. GXs, time you add Choice Band and Shrine of Punishment, you're kind of hitting 230 over 2 turns. 100 each hit, and then 10 after yours, 10 after theirs, 10 after yours. So that's enough to get something like a Gardevoir. And that's essentially it. The 70 damage looks kind of bad at the beginning, but when you factor in that it's 2-hit KOing while switching up a wall, now we're rolling. Now in terms of walls, we don't have all the ones we haven't expanded, but we've got some. We've got Hooper, which exists quite nicely in that you can't be touched by EXs or GXs, and alright, a well-placed Alolan Muck will turn off the ability, but it's still quite nice. We've got Regigigas, which just has 180 HP, and, well, it's got 180 HP and it gives up 1 prize. That's pretty good to me. What I will say is, in Standard, we also don't have Floatstone, but we can rely on stuff like Ace Roller, although Ace Rollering every turn might get a little bit arduous. And then we've just got big Pokemon. Ones like Wishy Washy GX. Ones like Genesect, which is a fairly bulky Pokemon, but because it is a metal Pokemon and it can have 2 tools attached to it, you can go kind of double metal frying pan to really give it quite a little bit of bulk. Or you can use something like Steelix, which is another really bulky Pokemon, which also has access to metal frying pan. I can't sit here and tell you that Raticate is the hit and run Pokemon we've been waiting for, but the hit and run deck is getting better and better and better and better and better. And this is nice, because all those other Pokemon have great advantages when they're hitting for weakness. What we really need in this hit and run deck is a Pokemon that can competently 2-hit KO stuff. And I think we've got that in Raticate. So I'm going to be going ahead and giving it 3 Wossies, but I'm also going to be going ahead and asking, hey, what do you think about this Raticate? Please do let me know in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. Go nuts! But please do remember the most important thing as always, look after yourselves until next time. Oh wait, be nice. But also look after yourselves, that's important. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WasseyPlays for some more Wassy action. But by far the most important thing as always is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross and you've been watching PTCG Radio.